We are making a gorgeously bronzed lemon garlic roasted chicken and potatoes that you are going to love. It is indeed a very simple recipe, but you and I have known each other a very long time. So when I ask you to do a couple of extra steps in any recipe, you know it's for a reason. And I'm gonna ask you to do a couple extra things in this recipe because it is the best lemon chicken and potatoes I have ever had, I have ever made, and I have been dying to share this recipe with you. It will be good on any dinner table for any reason, but I thought maybe if you weren't doing something like a ham or a lamb for Easter, this would be a great main entree that doesn't break the bank, which we love. The first thing we're gonna do is I have my oven preheating to 425, but we're actually gonna sear the chicken and potatoes first, and you get the most mouth-watering, crispy skin, rendered fat that bathes into those potatoes, and I am telling you, it is life-changing. If a recipe could be life-changing, the method of this is. Like I said, it is an extra step. Not only tell you to do so, if it was worth it. I'm only gonna do everything in one pan. This is my big roaster, and if you have a roasting pan, chances are it can go directly over your stovetop. If it cannot for any reason, I'm grabbing my tongue. If it cannot for any reason, just make sure to sear it in a separate pan. Who cares? And then you bake everything in one pan and it makes a delicious pan sauce that you will want to drink with a straw. I've got some bone-in skin-on chicken thighs and drumsticks. I'm going to salt and pepper them really well on both sides because this is your chance to season the chicken itself and give it a really beautiful crust that as it roasts, what happens is because you're starting it on the stove top, right? That fat is going to start rendering immediately. So when you pop this into the oven, A, it will not need to cook as long. It only needs 45 minutes. B, you've already rendered some of that fat, so you've got flavor from the off that's gonna go right into your potatoes when you season them, giving you extra flavor. It's kind of like building flavor for free. We're just taking, like I said, a couple extra steps to achieving the best, and it really is worthy of doing that. I'm gonna flip these around and I'm gonna season the other side. Make sure to clean and trim your chicken as you like. You can see I don't have a ton of fat in my skillet. I just have enough. I also have my little roasting pan here is non-stick. If I wasn't using this, I would just use like a cast iron skillet. Just be careful because the potatoes will stick. So I suggest a non-stick surface. I'm gonna add the chicken in. I'm going to sear both sides of the chicken well. It's not gonna cook it all the way through, not even close, but it is gonna give me the most glorious flavor and the most gorgeous crust, and that's what I want. So I'm gonna do that, and then I just need a little tiny bit more oil in the center. And then while that happens, just make some room where you have to. I'm gonna peel my potatoes, and here's the thing in terms of quantity and recipe. I find it much easier when I have the recipe, when the recipe's on for you on the website, obviously. I'm not gonna list pounds, I'm going to list portions because I think it's much easier to explain how many you feed by the pieces. So if you've got 10 pieces of chicken here, that's up to you whether you wanna feed 5 people, 2 pieces a piece, or 10 people, 1 per person. In terms of potato, the rule of thumb is a half a potato per person. These are a little bit small, but I'm gonna use, how many do I have here? 6, 7. I'm gonna use these because this is what I have hanging around, and we're gonna eat, it's just gonna be 6 of us. So we're just gonna have a little bit of leftover chicken. I'm going to peel my potatoes, and then I'm gonna show you really quickly how I want you to cut them because that's also really important because too big, they won't cook fast enough. Too small, they'll kind of disintegrate into the sauce. I'm gonna wash them before I cut them, but I just wanna show you real quick. I'm just gonna cut them in half lengthwise, and depending on the size, you're gonna cut them into either 3 or 4 pieces, 4 wedges. These are small, so I'm gonna go with 3 wedges per side, and then I'm gonna lay them out on some paper towel to make sure that the potatoes are really dry while that chicken develops a gorgeous crust. Look at that. So right from the off, your chicken is gonna have great color, great flavor. Look at that. The skin is gonna get all nice and crispy. It's just beautiful. And I'll let that go on that side. And then I'm gonna take it out and then get our potatoes in. Chicken is out and I'm just adding the potatoes in. Again, seems like a really unnecessary step. And I only like to, these don't take long. I only like to do this because they get such good flavor from the off. You've got that chicken fat in there that's been rendered. You're gonna have to add just a wee bit more olive oil in the center if your skillet does that. And then you're just gonna sear them until they get really beautiful color on both sides. It takes a minute, literally a minute. So worth it. You know, if it wasn't worth it, I wouldn't have you do it. Because although I love to eat good food, I really can't stand to fuff about with extra things that I just don't think are worth it. This is the exception. These already smell so good. These look fantastic. They've got some color on them. Now, these are not, we're not looking to get crispy roasted potatoes here because these are not gonna be crispy. They're gonna absorb all of that beautiful sauce and they're gonna be so mouth-watering, just you wait. It's like my favorite kind of roast potato, actually. They're divine, they're absolutely divine. But look at that color. You wouldn't actually get this color if we didn't do this method of searing them first, because again, it's making a pan sauce. So what happens when you take liquid and you introduce it to a starch is the starch will absorb it and it will keep it from turning that beautiful color. So there's that. Let's make the sauce. The sauce is boss, okay, but it's easy. Chicken stock, so much garlic. I do a clove per piece of chicken, so I've got 10 cloves of garlic here, finely chopped. Please do not use pre-minced garlic. It will not taste the same. Then I've got a good tablespoon of oregano. I like to take my herbs and just pinch them between my fingers when I add them to anything. It really releases their flavor. I'm gonna take the juice of a whole lemon. I think it's perfect, but if you want to do a lemon and a half to make it super lemony, feel free. I am not going to because I think one lemon is perfect. Put that in there. I forgot to do one step, which I'm going to do real quick. Add that in there. I like to take these two together and just squeeze out any excess juice. I like to take a lemon, cut it in half, and sear it. What that does is it caramelizes the lemon on the outside for like a minute. Then we're gonna add it to everything else. The sauce is ready. I'm gonna add a pinch of salt to the sauce because it's the only chance you get to flavor the potatoes from the inside. I'm gonna take that lemon, leave it to the side, and then I'm gonna add my chicken back in, all crispy skin side up. Oh, I forgot to add one more thing to my sauce. What was I thinking? We need a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, about 3 tablespoons. It helps things get all delicious and so fantastic. Just you wait. Get that chicken back in. Scatter your potatoes around. I turned it off. I only had it on for the lemon. It doesn't really matter how your potatoes go in because you want everything to kind of cook together and absorb all those flavors. Put that seared lemon right in there. And now you're gonna take this sauce, give it a stir, and pour it mainly on the potatoes. And don't worry if it hits the chicken because there's olive oil in the sauce, which means it will crisp up the top of that chicken anyway. Look at that. Get that garlic kind of off the very top because it can burn, and we don't want that. I want that flavor of the garlic to just go all in the potatoes. And I'm gonna pop this into my oven at 425, about 45 minutes. And I will show you what it looks like when it's done. The best you will ever have. And it's just so easy. The ingredients would be the same, but that extra step is key. Look at how glorious this is. I want you to see that delicious pan sauce that it kind of all collects into the chicken. You see that? All around, see those juices? And as it cools, those juices will kind of loosen up a bit. And everything is just so fantastic. It just needs like a good blanket of that. Take that lemon, squeeze it all over. Oh, it's so good. And it smells outrageous. Like that. See that? that sauce in there. Oh my gosh. If you want it even saucier, do like another 1/4 cup of chicken stock. My mouth is watering because I know this is phenomenal. I'm gonna first dive in with this piece of potato over here because I just know it's been soaking up all that goodness. It's really hot though because it literally just came out. Listen, oh my gosh, that's so good. Listen, that skin is crispity crisp, okay? It's crispy. I don't even want to cut that off. Take that, dunk it in those juices, like that. It's so good. If you could just smell what my kitchen smells like right now. Hot. So hot. Best I've ever made. Best you'll ever have. You will just love it. Let this cool down a bit before you serve it because it is piping hot. Go to laurainthekitchen.com for the written recipe. I hope you've enjoyed spending time with me. Look at that pull apart, shreddy, delicious meat. Look at that. It takes like no effort. The crispy skin just kind of gets in the way, but we eat it separately. laurainthekitchen.com for the written recipe. Hope you enjoyed spending time with me. I will see you in the next one. Bye.